Hello everyone, I am from Safal Institute, currently an MBBS student at MGM Jamshedpur. Today we are going to be looking at a biology PYQ, so let's start. Lecithin, a small molecular weight organic compound found in living tissues, is an example of. The options include amino acid, phospholipids, glycerides or carbohydrates. So lecithin is a type of phospholipid, so the answer will be option B. Now phospholipid means along with fatty acid and glycerol, it also includes phosphoric acid and a nitrogenous base residue which can either be pyrimidine or purine. एंड फंक्शन ऑफ लेसिथिन इंक्लूड्स इट एक्ट्स एज अ सर्फेक्टेंट इन लंग्स. इसका मतलब ये होता है कि लंग्स में सरफेस टेंशन को डिक्रीज करने में लेसिथिन रिस्पॉन्सिबल होता है और लंग कोलैप्स को प्रिवेंट करता है. सो द ऑप्शन विल बी, एज आई टोल्ड यू, फॉस्फोलिपिड्स. So let's look at the next question. This question was also asked in NEET 2024. Spindle fibers attached to kinetochores of chromosomes during. So the answer of this question is in metaphase stage. So the metaphase stage is the second stage of M phase of cell division, during which the chromosomes align at the equatorial plate of the cell. And kinetochore is the protein structure present on the outer surface of centromere. The function of kinetochore includes it helps in the spindle fiber attachment during cell division. A pink flat snapdragon plant was crossed with a red flat snapdragon plant. What type of phenotype are expected? The options include only red flat plants, red and pink flat plants, only pink flat plants, red, pink as well as white flat plants. तो ये जो फ्लावर कलर ऑफ स्नैपड्रैगन होता है वो इनकम्प्लीट डोमिनेंस टाइप ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस का एग्जांपल है. नॉर्मली क्या होता है, कैपिटल आर जीन जो होता है वो कम्प्लीटली डोमिनेंट होता है ओवर स्मॉल आर जीन. बट स्नैपड्रैगन में क्या होता है, जो कैपिटल आर जीन है उसका कंप्लीट इफेक्ट नहीं आ पाता है ड्यू टू स्मॉल आर जीन. So to obtain progeny, we draw the Punnett square by which we can see that both red as well as pink flat plants are obtained. So the option will be second option. So let's look at the next question. The lactose present in the growth medium of bacteria is transported to the cell by the action of. So lactopron में क्या होता है, in the presence of inducer which is lactose, the three structural genes, that is the Z, Y and A genes, by transcription form lac mRNA, and by further translation it forms beta galactosidase, permease and transacetylase, and this permease is responsible for transportation of lactose inside the cell. So the answer will be permease. So let's look at the next question. How many molecules of ATP and NADPH are required for every molecule of CO2 fixed in the Calvin cycle? The options include 2 ATP, 3 NADPH, 2 ATP, 2 NADPH, 3 ATP, 3 NADPH or 3 ATP, 2 NADPH. So the Calvin cycle is the process by which sugar is synthesized in all of photosynthetic plants. मतलब ये जो Calvin cycle होता है ये common process होता है be it C3 और C4 plants for sugar synthesis. तो फर्स्ट प्रोसेस इसमें होता है कार्बोक्सिलेशन, जिसमें फिक्सेशन ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड होता है, या फिर हम ऐसा भी कह सकते हैं RUBP का कार्बोक्सिलेशन होता है. इसमें एंजाइम रिक्वायर्ड होता है RUBP कार्बोक्सिलेज, लेकिन क्योंकि RUBP में ऑक्सीजनेज एक्टिविटी भी होती है इसलिए हम एंजाइम को RUBP कार्बोक्सिलेज ऑक्सीजनेज भी कह सकते हैं. According to NCERT, carboxylation is the most crucial step. After that, reduction process by which 2 molecules of triose phosphate is synthesized. इस प्रोसेस में 2 ATP और 2 NADPH रिक्वायर होते हैं. फॉर कैल्विन साइकिल टू कंटिन्यू अनइंटरप्टेड, रीजनरेशन प्रोसेस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है जिसकी वजह से RUBP का रीजनरेशन होता है. ये प्रोसेस बहुत क्रूशियल है और इस प्रोसेस में 1 ATP का रिक्वायरमेंट होता है. सो ऑफ टोटल ऑफ कैल्विन साइकिल 3 ATP and 2 NADPH are required. So the answer will be 3 ATP, 2 NADPH. It's a matching question. You have to match list 1 with list 2. List 1 options include nucleolus, centriole, leucoplast and Golgi apparatus. List 2 includes site of formation of glycolipids, organization like cartwheel, site of active ribosomal RNA synthesis and for storing nutrients. So nucleus, as we all know that nucleolus is a membraneless structure and it helps in active ribosomal RNA synthesis. अब ribosomal RNA या फिर rRNA एक टाइप का सेल्यूलर मशीनरी है which helps in protein synthesis. अब rRNA प्रोकैरियोट्स एज वेल एज यूकैरियोट्स में होते हैं बट डिफरेंट टाइप्स के होते हैं. प्रोकैरियोट्स में 5s, 16s और 23s टाइप्स के होते हैं और यूकैरियोट्स में 5s, 5.8s, 28s और 18s. S यहाँ पे स्वेटबर्ग्स यूनिट या सेडिमेंटेशन कोफिशिएंट है जो कि ये डिटरमाइन करता है कि किस रेट पे पार्टिकल सेटल डाउन हो रहे हैं ड्यूरिंग सेंट्रीफ्यूगेशन. सेकेंड ऑप्शन सेंट्रियोल. सेंट्रियोल भी मेम्ब्रेनलेस सेल ऑर्गेनल है विच हेल्प्स इन सेल डिविजन. इसका आंसर हो जाएगा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लाइक कार्टवील. कार्टवील अरेंजमेंट में ये होता है कि पेरिफ्री पे 9 फिब्रिल्स होते हैं जो कि ट्यूबुलिन प्रोटीन के बने होते हैं और हर एक फिब्रिल में 3 माइक्रोट्यूब्यूल्स होते हैं. थर्ड वन ल्यूकोप्लास्ट. ल्यूकोप्लास्ट प्लांट्स में प्रेजेंट होते हैं और एक टाइप का प्लास्टिड है. ल्यूकोप्लास्ट भी फर्दर 3 कैटेगरीज में डिवाइड हो सकते हैं, अमाइलोप्लास्ट, इलायोप्लास्ट एंड एल्यूरोप्लास्ट. अमाइलोप्लास्ट कार्बोहाइड्रेट या स्टार्च स्टोर करने के लिए, इलायोप्लास्ट फॉर स्टोरिंग ऑयल्स एंड फैट्स एंड एल्यूरोप्लास्ट फॉर स्टोरिंग प्रोटीन्स. सो इसका आंसर हो जाएगा फॉर स्टोरिंग न्यूट्रिएंट्स. गोल्जी अपैरेटस मेम्ब्रेन बाउंड होता है, सिस्टर्नी से बना होता है एंड इट हेल्प्स इन द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ ग्लाइकोलिपिड्स एज वेल एज ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन्स. अब ग्लाइकोलिपिड्स में होता है कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स प्लस लिपिड्स एंड ग्लाइकोप्रोटीन में कार्बोहाइड्रेट एंड प्रोटीन्स. अब ये दोनों ही सेल टू सेल रिकॉग्निशन में हेल्प करते हैं. सो लेट्स चेक बाय ऑप्शन. सो दिस विल बी द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. ये तो सारा मैंने बता दिया बट आप एलिमिनेशन ऑप्शन एलिमिनेशन मेथड से भी इसका आंसर कर सकते हो. सो द आंसर विल बी फर्स्ट. So let's look at the next question. This is a matching question in which you have to match list 1 with list 2. So let's overview the entire topic. Fungi is a kingdom in which heterotrophic organisms are included. It is further subdivided into 4 classes on the basis of morphology of mycelium, that is the structure of mycelium. Now what is mycelium? Mycelium is a network formed by thread-like hyphae. The second one is mode of spore formation, that is asexual spores or sexual spores. Asexual spores include sporangiospores, that is in Phycomycetes, conidiospores, that is in Ascomycetes. Sexual spores include zygospores, which is in Phycomycetes, ascospores, which is in Ascomycetes, and basidiospores, which is in Basidiomycetes. The third one include fruiting bodies. Now the fruiting bodies are of further types sporangium, ascocarp, and basidiocarp. So the 4 classes are Phycomycetes, in which the examples are Rhizopus, that is the bread mold, Albugo, which is the parasitic fungi on mustard plant, Ascomycetes include penicillium, yeast, or Saccharomyces, which is a unicellular fungi, Aspergillus, Claviceps, as well as Neurospora. Now the important thing about Neurospora is that it is a fungi used in biochemical as well as in genetic work. The third one is Basidiomycetes, in which the examples are Agaricus, which is the common mushroom, Puccinia, which is the rust fungi, as well as Ustilago, which is the smut fungi. Deuteromycetes, which is the fungi imperfecta, in which the sexual stage is absent. The examples include Alternaria, Coleotrichum, and Trichoderma. So let's now match. Rhizopus will be bread mold, Ustilago will be smut fungi, Puccinia, rust fungi, Agaricus, mushroom. So by matching the options, the option will be option 1. So let's look at the next question. Which of the following is an example of actinomorphic flower? The options include Datura, Cassia, Pisum or Sesbania. So this is a simple fact based question. इसका आंसर हो जाएगा Datura. एक्टिनोमॉर्फिक फ्लावर वो होता है जिसमें रेडियल सिमेट्री होती है फ्लावर में, मतलब किसी भी प्लेन में अगर हम फ्लावर को डिवाइड करें तो ऑलवेज 2 इक्वल हाफ्स ऑब्टेन होते हैं. इसका रेस्ट एग्जांपल हो जाएगा धतूरा, चिली, मस्टर्ड, यानी कि एग्जांपल्स ऑफ सोलेनेसी एज वेल एज ब्रासिकेसी फैमिली. अब जो ये नेक्स्ट तीनों एग्जांपल्स हैं, दिस बिलोंग्स टू द जाइगोमॉर्फिक कैटेगरी. जाइगोमॉर्फिक मीन्स फ्लावर्स हैविंग बायलेटरल सिमेट्री. इसका मीनिंग ये होता है कि एक फ्लावर को किसी एक पर्टिकुलर वर्टिकल प्लेन में डिवाइड करने पे ही 2 इक्वल हाफ्स ऑब्टेन होंगे. इसका एग्जांपल हो जाएगा पी, कैशिया, सेस्बानिया, दैट इज एग्जांपल्स ऑफ फेबेसी फैमिली. सो द ऑप्शन इज आंसर 1 एज आई टोल्ड यू प्रीवियसली. The cofactor of the enzyme carboxypeptidase is, the options include zinc, niacin, flavin or heme. So this is a fact-based question, so let's overview the entire topic. First of all, please remember that holoenzyme is the complete enzyme which is made up of apoenzyme as well as cofactor. Apoenzyme is the inactive proteinaceous part of enzyme, and when cofactor binds to apoenzyme, it induces catalytic activity within apoenzyme and it converts it into a complete enzyme, that is holoenzyme. So now cofactor, which is the non-proteinaceous part which is bound to mostly proteinaceous enzymes. Why mostly proteinaceous enzymes? Because some enzymes are made up of RNA, that is ribozymes, and it is important for catalytic activity. Furthermore, cofactor is divided into three types: prosthetic group, coenzymes as well as metal ions. Now first of all, prosthetic group. Prosthetic group is the organic compound which is tightly bound to apoenzyme. This is the crucial point here, that it is tightly bound to apoenzyme. Example include heme in peroxidase as well as in catalase enzyme. The second type include coenzyme. It is also organic, but the association to apoenzyme is transient. That means the duration for which coenzyme is bound to apoenzyme is short-lived. The example include niacin, which is the option over here. Niacin is a coenzyme which is in NAD or NADP. The third one is metal ions. Metal ion forms coordinate bond. This is the important point here. It forms coordinate bond with active site of apoenzyme as well as with substrate. The example includes zinc, which is the answer of this question. The answer of this question will be option 1. Zinc and carboxypeptidase. Now what is carboxypeptidase? Carboxypeptidase is a proteolytic enzyme and it is secreted by pancreatic cells. So let's look at the next question. Identify the correct statements. The flowers of Vallisneria are colorful and produce nectar. Now Vallisneria is a water pollinated plant and it does not have any need for colorful petals or for the production of nectar. So this statement would be false. Now the second statement, the flowers of water lily are not pollinated by water. Now this statement would be true because despite being hydrophytes, water lily as well as water hyacinth are pollinated by insects or wind but not by water. The third statement, in most water pollinated species, the pollen grains are protected from wetting. Now this statement is true as this is a simply fact-based statement. Now pollen grains, in this statement the pollen grains are protected from wetting by a protective mucilaginous covering. The fourth statement would be pollen grain of some hydrophytes are long and ribbon-like. This statement again is true. Example in which such pollen grains are found would be seagrasses like Zostera. Fifth statement, in some hydrophytes the pollen grains are carried passively inside water. Now this statement is true again. Now what passively means here is that in such pollen grains no motile structures such as cilia or flagella are found and these are transported through water simply by water currents. Now by looking at the statements, the correct option would be option 4th. So let's look at the next question. Which of the following are autoimmune disorders? Now autoimmune disorders are the ones in which the immune system of the body attacks its own cells and it is mediated via the production of autoantibodies. The first one is myasthenia gravis. Myasthenia gravis sure is an autoimmune disorder in which the autoantibodies are formed against the acetylcholine receptors of the neuromuscular junction. Rheumatoid arthritis is again an autoimmune disorder. In this disease, autoantibodies are formed against the synovial membrane of the joints. The third one is gout. This is not an autoimmune disorder. This is a chronic inflammatory disorder which is marked by the deposition of uric acid crystals in joints and tendons, which leads to acute joint pain. The fourth one is muscular dystrophy. This is again not an autoimmune disorder. In this disease, there's autosomal dominant type of inheritance, and it is marked by the progressive degeneration of muscle tissue which leads to muscle wasting as well as weakness. The fifth one is systemic lupus erythematosus or SLE. Now this is not given in NCERT, so let's just remember that autoantibodies are formed against the nucleus and cytoplasm of body's own cells. So this is again an autoimmune disorder. So the answer would be A, B as well as E. So the answer would be second one. So let's look at the next question. Which of the following is not a component of fallopian tube? The options include uterine fundus, isthmus, infundibulum and ampulla. So these three structures surely are part of fallopian tube, but this is not as it is the upper part of the uterus. So the answer will be first option. So let's once overview the entire topic of fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is a part of the female reproductive structure. It is also known as oviduct. It is 2 in number. The length is from 10 to 12 centimeters. The extent is from the periphery of ovary to the uterus. It is further divided into 3 structures: infundibulum, ampulla and isthmus. Infundibulum is the part closer to ovary. It is funnel shaped. It has finger-like projections called fimbriae present, which helps in the collection of ovum. The second part is ampulla, which is the wider part of fallopian tube, and it is also the site of fertilization. The last part of oviduct is the isthmus, which is the narrow lumen part of oviduct. So as I said previously, the answer would be uterine fundus. So let's look at the question. Given below are some stages of human evolution. Arrange them in correct sequence. Homo habilis, Homo sapiens, Homo neanderthals and Homo erectus. So this is a fact-based question, so let's overview the entire topic. So about 15 million years ago, Dryopithecus and Ramapithecus arose. They were primates. Dryopithecus was more ape-like and Ramapithecus was more man-like. After that, 3 to 4 million years ago, man-like primates arose in East Africa. After that, 2 million years ago, Australopithecus arose in East African grasslands. One more important thing about them is that they hunted with stone weapons, but they essentially ate fruit. After that, about Homo habilis, there is no year given in NCERT, but you have to remember the cranial capacity of Homo habilis, that is from 650 to 800 cc. And one more important thing about them is that they were the first human-like hominid. After that, 1.5 million years ago, Homo erectus arose. The one more important thing about them is that they walked upright and the cranial capacity was 900 cc. After that, about 100,000 to 40,000 years ago, Neanderthals arose. They had a cranial capacity of around 1400 cc and they used to bury their dead. Homo sapiens arose around 75,000 to 10,000 years ago. So let's sequence these. The first would be Homo habilis, then Homo erectus. After that, Homo neanderthals, and at last, Homo sapiens. So the answer would be A, D, C, B. So two more important things that can be asked here is that prehistoric cave art arose around 18,000 years ago and agriculture arose around 10,000 years ago.